Alright, so we just played a Blitz game, and we're going to play another here. That last Blitz game had a couple embarrassing moments, so it's time for some redemption. I'm going to play. I said that in the last video this was a day for playing things that I'm not so familiar with. Well, I'm not really an e4 player. I'm going to play with knight c3 and g3 because it's a bit slower and I don't have to know as much. Already, this is kind of a strange move. And, maybe I'm just going to play like this. Why not? I don't think that black really played very ambitiously here, so maybe I should play ambitiously. I don't think the knight belongs on g6 either. Alright, so what to do? Well, I am going to castle. I might have to put my king on h1. Because I might play for d4 in a second here. So I'm going to start with king h1. I'm going to play d4. And if e5, I think that's not a good idea at all. My knight comes into f5. Not even entirely preparing this move yet. I don't necessarily need to develop my bishop, although I'm certainly welcome to. Also, I can attack this pawn. And it's really not easy for him to defend. Let's calculate that. So if I go here, I think this is kind of out of the question. He can't go here, obviously, so he might have to play queen here. So my knight's here, queen's here. I'd like to just kick his queen again with my bishop. But I wouldn't be able to do that right away. Maybe I would then play some other move like queen e2. Okay, I have another idea. After queen b6, I'm going to play a4, a5. This is also a good way of clamping down on his queen side and preventing him from establishing some sort of pawn b5 and bishop b7. So I'm expecting queen here, and since I don't really see the best way to achieve bishop e3, I'm just going to play a4. And even after a6, a5, because my knight is guarded once, so he can't go queen takes. So once his queen backs up somewhere, oh, and if his queen backs up somewhere, I'll be able to take. So he'll have to go queen c5, and then things get tricky. Then I can start. Yeah, so let's go here. a6, a5, queen c5. Then maybe I can sacrifice with b4. Maybe. If he were to take it, my idea would be bishop a3, and then I crash through here, I get my pawn back. The problem is that when I play b4, I lose a defender of this knight, and when this knight moves, he might be able to just take me. So I'll have to reconsider that one. I would like to keep attacking him, but I don't see the right move. So maybe I just come back with my knight. Now I can play bishop e3 and then it attacks his queen. Sorry for I keep going over all of these little pop-up things and influencing the board. So being a little careless with the mouse. I think this was definitely an accomplishment for white rather than for black. Black has to do something here. This is far from ideal. Okay, I definitely develop an attack, or not attack. Well, I do have some threats maybe of knight here. Attacks the queen, the knight protects the bishop, and then I crash through on d6. If he takes me, I'll take back with the bishop. I want to keep the queens on while I have, while I'm attacking his queen like this. Now what? I can also start launching some pawns. Maybe h4. I would like to do what? Oh, I would actually like to crash through on this square. Because if this pawn disappears, then my knight comes in. Let's do that. This is starting to look very good for white. I don't know why that move didn't occur to me until this second, but definitely the most appealing move. So if takes, I'll throw this in between, I think, because I can. His queen has to go somewhere, probably back. Now here's the question. Pawn takes or knight takes? I think knight takes because now I have all this pressure here on d6. Honestly, I could just give up the rook. Or maybe I'm being a bit rash. I have so much attacking potential here. Even with the missing pawn. Okay, I'll just go... It's tricky. This is an important piece. I'd like to trade... What would I like to do? Okay, we're going to do something a bit crazy. We're going to take like this. So I'm down a lot of time. I'm having these really tough games against people that are actually quite low rated compared to where I think my rating will end up eventually. When it comes to Blitz, I've been over 2400 before on Lichess, so no game is easy, I guess. So it looks a little weird. I've given up the exchange, but if we think about where the rest of the pieces are sitting right now for black, it's almost like I'm up material, as long as I keep the initiative rolling. So I don't see any wait for him to have some sort of discovered attack on my knight. And the knight can always come back to f5. He might have knight f6, but then I mess up his pawns. And once I go here, I'm going to have checkmate threats. So he might have to play f6. So definitely not easy. And we're getting into our last minute each. This, I think I can ignore. I could also take knight takes, get the exchange back. But I already sacrificed the exchange. I don't want the exchange. Oh, he is here. That's fine though. I can go here. He cannot take. I think speed is going to be important. I said he can't take because after recaptures, his knight has to move, and then he loses this. So this is going to be game over. So knight here, I'll take with check first, and then I'll pick that up. I'll have two pieces. Well, it's not game over yet. I was down in exchange. But it should be much better for white. Well, let's take this. This is getting to be completely over. I now have knight here. Check. Then I have here. This is, yeah, resignable. So again, not an easy game. Let's analyze that. He's already thrown on the computer analysis. Let's look at the opening. The opening was very unorthodox from already the way I played here is not so common. And the way that this was defended was very passive. So I just felt free to take f4. Yeah, just very odd to spend so many moves in the opening, putting the knights on unideal squares. And I thought here white would. I honestly thought white would be better than what the computer's giving it. Yeah, so all this felt pretty good. So this is interesting. My idea that the rook didn't matter seems to be completely valid. But even though I had the right intuition, I need to actually play concretely to get an advantage out of it. Yeah, b5. Yeah, I could have. Well, so yeah, it's a mistake because I could have just taken the pawn, and then, I guess I would have been. I thought it would just be returning material, but I guess I'd be slightly better. Oh, interesting. So I could have gotten two pieces for the rook. I did not see knight takes c8 at all. That requires some calculation. So I missed this move in the calculations because if I were just to do this, I didn't think I'd be better here at all, and I really wouldn't. I'm not even equal, really. So I kind of wrote off that whole line because I just assumed I'd recapture, but sometimes you have to look a move deeper. But that's so hard to do in these 5+, even 5+3. That's so hard to do unless you're a tactical wizard. So we got this kind of position. And I didn't think I was better here, per se, but I didn't think I was actually that much worse. And I think around even is a fair assessment. Yeah, and this was just a blunder. He couldn't play that move. And I can even start with bishop takes g7 because of all the problems around his king. Knight f6. And yeah, I figured I was just coming, not just winning the rook here, but checkmate is coming. Something like this. So not a clean game, but that's also kind of what happens. The takeaway from this is that this is why it's good to kind of play out of your comfort zone, play openings that you're not familiar with, and just try to play by your principles, because too often after you've been playing the same opening for so long, you kind of become accustomed to the structure, you learn all the plans associated with those positions, and you mistake that for having mastered chess. And that's simply not true. You've just gotten good at like one kind of position. And so I play these games with positions that I'm not familiar with. I have to figure everything out in real time. I make tons of mistakes. So it's a good, uh, if anything, it's a good exercise in humility to play like this. So, maybe I'll play a third game. I'm not quite 2,000, 5 away. But for now, I think I have some good takeaways here in terms of maybe playing with initiative, and hopefully that some of the ideas presented here could be useful in your own games. And I'll see you in the next game.